is the approval of the agenda and the approval of the February 20th, 2025 meetings. Is there a motion?
Motion to consent.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I mean, do we need to also approve the annual meeting minutes because they're included?
They shouldn't have been included because they were approved last month.
Well,
Were they not?
no, we had the annual meeting last
You're right, because that's February. They should have been on the agenda, and it's not, so you don't really take the action. It's not it's actually not anything extraordinary, so I would let the chair make that call. Should we approve those minutes?
Because we haven't approved the agenda yet, but I don't know.
Yeah, that would not be on there. I can pass it for the week. Motion. And is there any second?
Paula seconds.
Six, I see. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Good night. Chair, I have it. Motion carries. Move to public comments. Written communication from the public.
There was an email from Mr. Mark Girdler asking about IMLS funds and what the library's plans about that, and I let him know the same thing I let you guys know. Didn't get a further response.
All right, we'll move down now to division head reports. Carol, I'm thinking we'll be joining us.
Carol had some car issues and stuff and was not able to be here today.
Thank you.
So on the table, you will see the 150th pens that are being passed out to patrons as one of the freebies. There are 3 freebies all year: stickers, pens, and pencils. I didn't grab any pencils, but I did grab pens. And then there is an updated brochure of everything that's going on this year. You'll see in the middle panel is this corner, or this quarter. Thank you, not corner. So Michael Freeze is our next event, which is down on the bottom left. That is Saturday. We are expecting a lot of people to be here based on our social media numbers on that. And then after that is the color run on the 12th. And there are already, as of last meeting, there are 28 people signed up for it. So
It should say mile, right?
no, I think MIL is it's just mil. It is a mile, but
I mean, it just looks wrong. I know that it's correct, but I'm just saying it.
okay. I will let Alex know.
Still running.
I don't know. I'm not a runner. I don't know the run thing.
Runners don't have time for eating.
I know.
Kilometers anyway. I'm not kind of it. And then after that in May is Ridiculous's Best of Show. And then Clash Generations in June. So that rounds up our next quarter, and then we'll go into the last quarter. Third quarter, fourth quarter. Thank you. There are 4 quarters in the year, not 3. We're expecting a lot of people on Saturday. Hopefully, not so many that the fire marshal has to show up, but you know.
What is it?
Michael Freitz is a
Library
TikTok influencer. During COVID, he was huge for Library Joy. He was a librarian in somewhere in the Bay Area of California, and just started spreading, telling stories,
like,
talking to people on,
and how the
yeah.
library is for everyone,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it's very library joy is this thing.
Mhm.
Like,
Very
it's
positive.
Yeah.
So is it more for adults or kids?
It's for adults, and probably most people that are there will probably be library workers.
Oh.
But that doesn't mean that it's not for everybody. Children can come. What we're going to do is have a fireside chat interview with him. Ty is one of our librarians, is going to interview and talk to him about, what he's doing and what he's coming up with. Because he's also the librarian in residence for PDS.
Thanks for explaining.
You should look him up on Instagram.
Yeah.
I wasn't as familiar with him either until we started, so somebody contacted him and was like, oh my God.
I wasn't either until I saw him speak in a room of a couple of thousand librarians. Wow. Yeah.
He was at ALA, KLA, and ILA.
Yeah.
He's making the round.
Bringing it home on to Decatur. Yeah, Saturday, 2 o'clock, so.
Sorry.
How early can we show up?
You may want to get here early.
All right.
I will be here at noon,
All right.
but I would say be in the building by like 1 at the
What's your
latest.
name tag?
Yeah.
Just to make-
Yeah, use your name tag, yeah. But mainly the thing is, I don't know what we don't know what we're
Oh,
expecting.
I know.
Okay, and it is first come, first served. We are recording it, it's being professionally recorded by Jim Wilkerson. But because of the contract, that recording has to be behind a username and password situation. And I think we can only have it up for like a month or something like that. So it will be available, we'll make it available, but it will only be for a short period of time.
That's great. I didn't know that part.
Yeah, we
TikTok
just found that one. What?
TikTok monetized?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
So
it
he's
is.
trying to protect his
He's protecting his, yes,
business interests.
absolutely.
fair.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we just found that out, we contacted him, was like, can we actually record this? Because we would like to. We are going to be taking photographs as
Yeah, it's
well.
good that he's letting us at all. but-
Yeah, he could have said no.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's that, and then, the other thing that I wanted to let you guys know, if you haven't seen it already, the big exhibit downstairs is very popular and is very well done, and that is the Underground Railroad of Illinois. And the first program for that is tonight at 6, and that's Laura Keys doing Lucy Pettigrew.
Pettigill.
And she is, who was a station operator on the Underground Railroad out of Peoria. So, with this exhibit, we had to do 3 events. This is the first one.
We actually have 4. don't we?
We have 3.
We have 3. We have Chris Cavilla, and we have
Hello.
Connie.
And Connie Martin,
Right.
and then.
We had the opening reception.
The opening reception.
That's where we're from.
Yeah. Which we had 25 people at, so. Nice.
Well, awesome, fantastic. It's fun. Obviously, time with the library, so definitely make it out for Saturday. Did not know I need to be here an hour early, so now I do.
I just for your own sake, yeah, you might want to.
Stay in
I'll
one
be here,
week.
you can put me to work.
I've already got enough people to work, but yeah.
We can be room.
Okay. Because I've got Sam at the door with Sherry, and we've got Alex and I are going to be running around. I'm going to try and take pictures with the fancy camera. And
She has a fancy camera, but.
you can also take
How
pictures.
long is the event? From starts
About
at
an hour.
2 to 3?
When is the other Underground Railroad exhibit?
The next one after that is April 5th, and that's Chris Valillo. He's doing Songs of the Illinois Freedom Road.
April 5th?
At 2, I think. And then the one after that is Connie Martin. That's April 29th at 6:30. And she is talking about pre-Civil War quilts and how they hid secrets in those quilts for the Underground Railroad.
So each one is slightly different?
Mhm.
Okay.
I would give Becky props again. Becky's an archivist, you know, and that's not an out front facing job. And so she's out of her comfort zone here.
Completely.
She's doing a fantastic job. I just want to, acknowledge that.
Thanks. I'm going on vacation after all of this is over.
Yes.
Yes.
Can't blame you.
Well deserved vacation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you gotta finish that book first.
I'm almost done with my section.
I
So,
know it's not you.
Huh.
It's not you.
Well, we appreciate your work.
thank you.
All right. Leslie, next to you.
they got all of the things they wanted to keep, and they stored them all in a way that when they got their new desks, they could move right in. And then, of course, we found out, like, the Friday before the 10th, that those desks weren't ready. And I ran around and talked to as many as I could get a hold of and say, hey, do you want to move back to your old desks, or are you willing to stay at your temporary desks until the new desks come in? And I was very happy that they were all willing to stick it out, because everything had already been moved, and that was no small project in and of itself, knowing full well that as long as it took for circulation desk to be finished, that it could be just as long for them. And they have done very well. And in fact, I think upstairs they like their new spot because they have a better view of everything, and I hope the new desk provides them with that better view. It won't be in the same space, obviously, but we're kind of adjusting things, hopefully, so they have a better view of the stairs and the elevator and down the hall. So, I mean, kudos to them for sticking it out, be willing to get up and walk much further distances in order to serve patrons. Now, going back to the 150th, a little snippet, because Ridiculous performs May 3rd. So we just finished Ridiculous Junior on Tuesday. That was the finale. The kids did a marvelous job. Lots of feel-good stories there. But we also have preschool story times to get ready, because we're going to the Pershing Early Learning Center on April 11th, and we do 4 shows for 3- and 4-year-olds. So we have to have a shorter preschool level show, especially for the 3-year-olds. So we had to design something that's just enough like what we're currently doing, but enough different that they can not get too squirrely. And we also have 150th, which is an entirely different show. And this is usually about the time we're getting ready for our summer show, where we do 6 shows over the course of the summer. So we're basically getting 3 separate shows at the same time that we're still performing this school year's show. So we have put aside, an hour here, 2 hours there to pick books, watch what we did before, put them in an order, gather all the props, organize all the props, set them in different bins, make sure we have everything we need so that on all of these dates we'll be ready. And I think we are actually doing very well, all considered, because I even think we have a summer show lined up. We have our summer dates ready, and Casey will be working on those to have them on the calendar as soon as possible. So it's been a week, it's been a month, it's been a year, but we're very productive on multiple fronts.
The Joseph was really fun. That was a really good program. Like my kids didn't watch it, but I was here and I listened to it.
This Thursday, speaking of, next Thursday, we're having our 2nd musical story time with Millikan students. And so John has gone to Millikan and practiced with the 2 students who are going to be playing percussionists, and I don't remember what the other one is, so that they are prepared. And so they will be here, I believe, at 10 a.m. next Thursday doing a performance, and the friends have already agreed to not just support that one, but another one in the fall to be determined. Awesome. So lots of work with Millikan on story time.
Lovely collaboration. Yeah, that's a lot of shows to remember at once now.
Yep. I should mention that week, right before the 150th show, May 3rd, this is how brilliant we are. We are doing a show for St. Patrick's School, we're doing a show for preschools, we're doing a show for homeschoolers, and we're doing another show, I can't remember off the top of my head, I think it's Clinton. So we're going to set up on Monday. We have a show Monday, a show Tuesday, a show Wednesday, a show Thursday, all at 10 a.m., all open to the public, but specifically for those people. So we never have to take down, so maintenance never has to take down. We get a Friday break, and then Saturday we have the 150th. So, I mean, talk about It's
organized.
then I get a vacation, right? Right. Okay, now I'm done, I promise.
Fantastic work, fantastic work. All right, great.
So, the administration department highlights I want to talk about is, on the 11th, I met with a lot of local organizations, nonprofits, public bodies, to talk about any issues we may have been having with federal funding. And as of February 11th, everyone who had federal funding was still able to access their funds and no issues. We're talking about having a meeting again in March, and nothing ever got scheduled. I wonder if we get the same response now, but as of February 11th, everyone was still able to access their funding. I also want to mention that we officially moved Casey Styling from PRS, where she worked for several years. She was named marketing specialist back in.
I saw her in the office.
Yeah.
When I went to get a water.
In January of 2024, but she continued to work as a librarian on the desk close to half of her time.
At least.
So we've freed her up, moving her up here to administration. She now reports to me, but the important thing is that she doesn't have that public service hours anymore, and she's being able to devote all of her time to marketing, and I'm hoping that you're seeing the results of that. I'm anecdotally hearing things from people I don't normally hear from. Hey, it sounds like you're doing all kinds of cool stuff at the library. People who aren't library people, are mentioning this to me. So I think you'll
I've
see
seen more on
it.
Instagram. I usually wasn't seeing it because of the algorithm, and so I am seeing it more now.
Very good. Very good. Also, I want to talk about, we're switching over to a new, it's library calendar. It's through an organization called Library Market, but it will display our events differently on our website, but it's also a room reservation system wherein patrons will be able to reserve rooms a little more directly. It will be far less centralized. Right now, everything goes through Michelle, and she put about 48 or so hours of work into. There was no way to, in a batch, have the current reservations for 2025 moved in there. They all had to be done manually by hand. So we had her work from home for a week, and she plowed through it, and then we still had to have another day that was just dedicated to it. So she put in 48 hours of work on this, and got done. We're shoring up a few things with that, with Library Calendar. Alyssa's staff is putting some
That
stuff
looks
in
way
there.
better.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This
yeah.
is Springfield's Lincoln Library. They
This
use
is
the
gonna-
same.
Yes, this
Yeah.
is what we're going to have.
Is
And,
A lot
and,
cleaner.
and the other thing is, our programming librarians are going to be able to go in and reserve their own room. If the dates that are filled aren't even going, the dates, times, and rooms that are filled aren't even going to show up. Okay, so they can't double book. We don't need to have it centralized. That'll give them a lot more autonomy.
So it'll say like Madden Auditorium reserved.
Yeah, basically.
And they won't, like,
Yeah, from the reservation side, it's just not available, and you can't. Even if you wanted to, you can't reserve.
you won't see it in the calendar, but
Right,
you'll
exactly.
see it like when you try to reserve.
So, and we think that's good for a lot of reasons, but I think decentralizing it really helps, so we don't have to, everybody run through, it's just a lot more efficient this way. There's a few more final steps before we go live. We're working on getting the e-commerce portion of it done, which has been a royal pain, but we're almost there. We do have a Square account, and we're working on bank verification. For some reason, that's been a stumbling block. And it may be something I have to hand off to the city comptroller to help with, because she has direct access to the bank account. I do not. But we can still start taking payments even before that's done, and then we can just move the money over later. So that's where we are. I want to talk a little bit about some numbers. Actually, I don't want to talk about these numbers. I don't want to talk about it at all.
Yeah.
But we have to.
I'll just,
Yeah. So we've got we're looking at a 9% overall decrease in circulation. Now, we'll look at the 12-month trend. Is not nearly as bad. Just a slight decrease up in the last 12 months. But this month is compared to bright spots we can point to. Circulating electronic materials, up 6%. Successful retrieval of electronic information, that's electronic resources that aren't checked out for a time, like a database. Once you've got it, you've got it. We treat that differently than Google, because IMLS tells us to. That's going to be.
This is super dumb that last year was a leap year.
Yeah, I counted the days.
There.
I counted the
Got
days.
that day.
Yeah, there was, I believe, one more day of business, but that doesn't account for, that's not 10%.
I know.
I did check that. And interlibrary loans. So this indicates to me it's not just us, okay? When, when other libraries are borrowing less from us also, it's not just our patrons. But here's interesting. Visitors are increasing.
I know, I saw that.
So, and I've talked to you guys about this before, but I think it bears repeating. Sometimes Matt and I go, can this be right? So we can actually watch this counter in real time.
Yeah.
It's a video counter. It is not the old school like a laser that it's broken. This is a video counter.
Yeah.
It watches, when somebody comes through the door, it puts a little dot on there. That way, if they go back and forth, they're like counting one time. And then we watch it in real time. It's completely accurate.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about like people. I know that people that I know are coming to see the kids' stuff. They're like, I know two people, like a family who hasn't been in here for a little while. They were like, we haven't been to see the stuff in there. They're like, this is awesome, and then they checked out books. So that was this month. So, but yeah, we kind of talked about that last month too, right?
Yeah.
Like where
Yeah,
it's kind of changing, the landscape's kind of changing.
Well, and this programming,
Yeah.
different programming.
So I have a
things
question.
like
So that's like, so when it says synchronous, that means like, that's telling you what those
Yeah.
age of.
so we're chopping up the programs a little differently than we have in the past. This is based on the way the state wants us to report it. So that's why I don't have last year to compare it to.
Yeah.
Synchronous means everybody's doing the program at the same time. So summer reading is asynchronous. Ridiculous is synchronous, because everybody's there at the same time. Does that
Or
make
if
sense?
it's like a.
Yeah.
Well, but summer reading is self-directed.
Yes.
But it still counts as asynchronous.
Well, asynchronous, virtual.
We don't report the, yes,
Okay,
yes, but that's,
so I'm like,
But
I'm
it's
missing numbers then.
But if,
No,
like,
no, we don't
if
need-
it's like a video program that we recorded or
that's,
something,
and
like that would
if
be
somebody watches it
asynchronous.
later, that's
Yeah.
asynchronous
Correct.
virtual, that's
Yeah.
that number. So, but the overall number of program attendees. Now, we also knew last year that we were going to, since we were concentrating who's doing programming, we knew we were going to have fewer programs. We were having over 500 programs a year and kind of watering things down quite a bit. We knew, and we thought we wanted to focus on quality as opposed to quantity. So what I didn't do, but I think I'm going to next month for you guys is just look at attendance per program. But almost all the other numbers were down that have to do with the public. But our assists sometimes are, is the county getting captured, and I think some months are better than others at that. So this is, we actually have to, manually keep track of that.
Yeah.
But we've got quite a few more people coming in.
Well, last year, wasn't like a lot of stuff like under construction, like you guys had carpet, was that last year or was that the year before that?
I thought it was last year.
Was it last
Yeah,
February?
it's actually-
You guys were doing all the switch outs and moving
Yeah,
everything
last
around.
February, I think they were.
Because I remember-
That's probably right, yeah.
I don't know,
I remember that.
because I was like my thing is always the young adults, because like that's my group of students. But like, I don't know, is it like where everything is placed now? Do you think that has an impact? Like how
We have a lot more, we have a lot more coming in,
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. One of them is that they're being locked out of the
Yeah.
transfer
Bus
house, the bus,
place.
or the bus station.
Bus station, yeah.
So this is where we are, and, to look at it in a visual format, you can see, that's, everything's down. We chop it up by audience, we chop it up by material type, we do have the electronic, certain electronic materials and stuff. And so was audio too. Yeah, audio was up, quite a bit. It's a small portion of the whole, but that's a pretty big increase. It's 17%.
Videos and DVDs, that's gonna slowly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
me and my kids clearly, we
Yeah.
love it, but.
Interlibrary loan was down, both inbound and outbound. But here's those feet
People.
through the door, new patron registrations were down, but that's not super significant. I don't know, we'll keep an eye on it, and, it's, if program attendance were up, maybe, it's, people are just coming in and doing less. Maybe that's
Coming in and reading the newspaper.
taking,
I came on my
Using computers.
checking out one book rather than, well, the computer use was down too.
Oh, wow, I don't know what's going on.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
So it said, worked with Bob Besser Brewworks for the pint. Is there a new one, or is it still the same one?
So
Okay.
there will be a new one in 2 weeks,
Okay.
2 to 3 weeks, and it will be strawberry cream
Oh.
ale. And we're getting a new glass,
In 2 weeks, you said?
about 2 to 3 weeks, yeah.
We're going
Yeah.
Because I need a glass.
And a new
Glass
glass.
number 2, yeah.
Okay.
The PPPR.
Okay, cool. And then the other one, what is the Spanish library help thing?
So Sarah Yepsen is her bachelor's degree is in Spanish, so she's fluent in Spanish.
And she's an employee here?
Correct.
Yeah,
Oh,
she was out of it, I don't know if you can.
Oh, I
upstairs,
know who you're talking about, in children's, yeah. Okay. So she's just like a help desk type thing?
If somebody comes in who is in need of translation, wherever it is, if they're during her hours that she's here, and we are making sure people know when those hours are, because she's only part-time, so there might be 2 hours in the evening and 2 hours on a Saturday, then we can put her where she needs to be. If the person needs assistance getting a library card, or assistance on the
Yeah.
computers, she's somebody who can speak to them.
She's been doing Spanish story times, which I've heard are good.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
And working on translating policies and things like that, so it's big.
Have we shared that with ESL classrooms or
We've been
schools?
working with Chico,
Oh.
and specifically lots of Johns Hill comes, and they are very, we could use more Spanish language, this or that,
That's
so
really
we
cool.
prepare for it.
But we might want to talk to Holly with the ESL class over there. I don't know if we have made that connection.
I thought that they
Probably.
were at the
Probably.
Chico meeting. What I do know is the family literacy from Baby Talk no longer has an ESL component.
Oh.
And I just found that out this year. I think it's grants is the problem, but I could be
Yeah.
wrong. I have to go back and look at my email.
And then just wanted to ask about this burnout survey. What is that?
Just conducted a burnout survey to sort of assess the level of burnout among staff. We had, while the results weren't terrible, they also weren't great. So we've got some work to do, and it came with some suggestions. Just did some research and saw what not only other libraries are doing, but other places of business are doing. And she's worked extensively with. I'm going to forget her last name now. Anyway, Ashley is a consultant now, but we haven't hired her. She's also an ex-social worker. Jess and her talk. Ashley used to be the director before. She was director at Caseyville. Before that, she was a social worker. But they did a lot of fairly innovative things, I think, there at case of a much smaller library, but to combat,
Oh, so this is
Burnout.
for like employees?
correct.
Oh, okay.
So we talked, in our division heads meeting today, we talked about, we went over Jess's survey and the results of it, and when I come back from my week off, we will pick at least one thing to do
Okay.
to,
Cool.
and start with there. But one of the things that got a little bit of traction with staff, I sent it out to staff accidentally, the survey. I was gonna send it to them eventually, but I wanted leadership to talk it over first, but I accidentally sent it out to everyone. So I said, hey,
Hope you
you
didn't
know,
say anything mean.
oh no, there was nothing in it. And I said, so why, just give me some feedback. Let me know what you think about this. And one of the things that, that got some traction was, allowing staff, opportunity to attend one, library program per month on work time. There were a few of them that said, I like that idea.
Like
So-
ridiculous or whatever, maybe.
So we're looking at that.
Yeah, when I read it, I thought it was like burnout of like library patrons and why they're not coming.
No, that would be, you know, and as we were talking about that issue,
Yeah.
you know, I'm thinking maybe some surveys are indicated, so. But yeah, the burnout survey is something that Jess asked if she could do, and said, do it, and we're working on the results.
That's all, sorry.
There's nothing else from down to reports of the committee, PPRs first.
So we met earlier this month, we talked about the policies, and we would like to present them for review. The main thing, so the first one is the adult computer use policy. And
Sir?
Yes, I
No. Is it emergency?
just want what you want to do with the drunk guy that passed out outside your door.
Well, I would,
He's refusing to leave, so if you want me to have patrol come out and deal with him.
I think I would, if he's
Okay.
pretty confusing, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
So, Samantha would like to make a motion to pass the adult computer use policy with the language presented. The only change that was made was basically adding the text that says Decatur residents without a library card will need to acquire a guest pass from staff. We just found it was a little confusing going from library card holders may log in without assistance from staff, and then visitors from outside of Decatur may be granted access to library computer resources. So there, it just felt like there was a little missing piece.
Nice clarification.
Yeah.
So motion, is there a second?
Iowa seconds.
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, any chair, ayes have it, motion carries.
All right.
Huh?
The next one is the equipment circulation policy. This is mainly for hotspots, like we don't really
Right now,
circulate
yeah.
any other equipment. So this is just, we didn't change any language in this, it was just more of a, we reviewed this year. We review policies every 3 years, most policies I would say. And so I would like to make a motion to make no changes, I guess. All right, second.
I'm sorry, I wish I had highlighted this, but I think that I added in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th paragraph. I believe that second sentence is added because you guys wanted it to match what the
Oh.
regular circulation policy
Okay.
was.
The patrons who have not returned overdue
Yes,
equipment.
which
Okay.
is language straight from the CERT policy.
Yes, that's right, I forgot we did do that. So I will revise my motion to
Amend it.
to amend the policy with the additional language that matches our normal circulation policy.
There's a first, is there a second?
Ashley will second.
Alright, any discussion?
I had a question. Do we have much problem with people not returning?
Well, what happens is they just turn the service off. So,
Oh, okay.
like, the equipment doesn't cost us any money, it's just a service, so we
Okay.
just.
That's all we
yeah.
have right now.
Yeah.
Right
Oh,
now.
okay.
And
When it happens, we simply turn it off.
Oh,
And it
okay.
does no good.
if something else comes along besides hotspots, then we'll review our
That's what we-
policy
yeah,
and
that's what we
amend
talked
it.
about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I was thinking, are we actually providing equipment, physical equipment? And, you know, if it was a real problem, we consider having to put a deposit down.
We have considered other things in the
Yeah,
past,
okay, but-
circulating other equipment in the past, so. Yeah, it's not something I'm big on, but I know a lot of libraries do it, and,
It can be a lot of work, though,
Well,
too. Yeah.
there's no place to store it, it's hard, like, how do you catalog it, like,
and maintain it, you know, there's,
yeah. And you remember the tool request?
Yeah.
Yeah.
the city requested us to,
Like gardening
have a
tools.
have a
and,
tool
like,
library here that
Yeah.
they would pay for, which
I think that's a neat idea.
exactly, I think everybody thought it was a good idea, just not for us to do for them. I think everybody liked the idea of having, for the community to be able to, somebody to come and go and check out, you can check out a chainsaw or whatever it is, you know.
Check out a chainsaw.
But I didn't want to be the one maintaining,
Yeah.
keeping the
Maintain
chainsaw
Little
shop.
trickier.
You've only stretched staff so far and the new responsibilities.
I fear mission drift as the
Yes,
people been
exactly.
people been here for a while now.
So the next policy is the interlibrary loan policy. We made one change.
So down at the bottom, one of the things we talked about was that $25 in unpaid fees. Well, the language, so I put "or" there, and then it's followed by highlight. This is, again, the language that's highlighted, is language in the CERT policy.
Yep.
So if we want to be consistent, we would eliminate above the "or"
Yeah.
and have this.
Yes. So I would like to make the motion to align the interlibrary loan policy with the current circulation policy, which would be the indicated change.
Shiloh seconds.
There's a first and a second, any discussion?
The only thing that we talked about in the meeting for you guys who weren't there, was just like, how often does this happen? Like, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of issues with it currently, but I mean, we can revisit it in the future if something happens.
Interestingly, there was a complaint the next day.
Of course.
Of someone saying, why do I have to come in,
And
pay the $5, take my 20 minutes to get there, pay the $5, and then come back and take 20 minutes to get my refund when you guys find out you can't get it. And our reason, again, that we talked about in the meeting, our reason for this is because there's a cost to us oftentimes for these, and we were getting a lot of people who would make the request and then not come pick up the book.
Yeah.
So-
And it costs us money either way.
Yeah.
So they give you $5 if you are requesting it outside of the state of Illinois.
Correct.
And if you are able to get it, you refund them? Or they just pay it?
It depends on how much they cost. It costs us.
Okay.
Yeah, but if we can't get it, we refund that one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if we
Okay.
can't get the item, and sometimes we do.
So, that's the end of my discussion.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the chair ayes, have motion carried.
The last thing in our committee is the city library evaluation. Carl and I completed that just on Tuesday, so are you satisfied? Do you need a written evaluation?
That's you guys' decision,
like
not mine.
A copy.
I mean, there is a form
Yes.
for that,
Yes.
but that's you guys' call. It's not I can't tell you how to do my evaluation.
Yeah.
I mean,
What was the
I'll look for it.
consensus?
I did forward, I checked my email, I had forwarded to you, but I'm not going to
Yeah.
forward it again.
I probably do have it.
Or is that able to be shared?
I think it's confidential, because I mean, obviously we value Rick's time services to the library, definitely keeps the she was low, he would have incurred some less than desirable financial changes that are state and sued financially since he's come on board. It's been night and day per se, so.
And discuss like goals moving forward for you / the library?
Yeah, one of my goals you're gonna hear in a few minutes.
Okay.
And then I'd have to pull it up to find it, I've already forgotten the other two goals.
And I shredded it.
But I have a couple.
I don't like it.
Yeah, so the evaluations are not subject to Freedom of Information Act. That is one thing that is exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. So somebody cannot request to see anybody's evaluation. Interestingly, disciplinary action is subject to, so
I guess that makes sense
so
then.
you can look at somebody's disciplinary documents, but you can't see their eval.
Well, Sophia is not here this evening, so was there any other business for report PR wise? Move down to the finance and properties committee.
Yeah. Yeah, we had our meeting last week. Rick explained what was going on with the current capital needs and the furniture project. Did you want to update?
Any updates?
Yeah.
No, there's not a single update. I'll be learning more early last week. I emailed.
I didn't get any orders, so.
I emailed LFI again today to remind that since I'm going to be out of the office until the 31st, that they need to let her know if there's any change, so she can just contact me directly if I need to be contacted. But no, I don't have a single update.
The air conditioning?
So there, I do have an update there.
Yeah.
So the indoor work on the chiller has been completed. That was completed, I believe, yesterday. But the rooftop work will continue, I think, until about the 18th or 19th of next month, which means we will not have air conditioning until then. So it, could get pretty warm in here. One other thing that I was not aware of, there is one thing left to do on the roof besides them taking their trash away. They have, the drains that they broke are still not fixed. Those drains are, for the time being, plugged. So that means we're in rainy season, what we're going to have is standing water on the roof.
And that could cause a problem.
It could cause a problem also. So I don't have a timeline on that either, but I know that Dalton, who is our in-house maintenance guy, said that his boss, Mike Pritchett, who some of you guys have met, expected to hear from them this week, and that has not happened as far as I know.
I just want that whole plug before
You mean where the louvers were? And my understanding is that's supposed to be done anytime now. They can put those louvers
That's
back
what I
up.
mean, like if it's, the internal's done, let's put the louvers back up so that
Yes.
it looks like the building is finished.
Yeah.
My
Or it
understanding
looks like
is there is
even if
nothing,
it isn't.
there is nothing to prevent them from putting the louvers back up, is my understanding. So,
Yeah, sorry, I was just commentary.
yeah, I hope that gets done very soon. And it can get pretty warm in here in April if there's no. I can tell you that from 11 April's experience.
Yeah.
And you know what? We've had that problem in the past. But here's
They're
what
waiting for something, or it's just that work takes a while?
the work takes a while, and that's rooftop work.
Is it the same company that did it before?
It's not the roofing company.
Oh.
It has nothing to do with the roof.
Okay.
This is
It's
for
just
the
chiller.
cooling tower
Okay.
that's being installed. That they installed by crane, but they still have work to do to get it operational. Yeah, this is not the roofing company. So we hope this will be by mid to late-ish April that it will be good to go. And when I get back, I will talk to Mike and
Yeah, finance committee, went over, check register and vendor reports.
There was an issue about the December check register.
Yes,
And I don't know if we want to table that again, since it was Emily's question and Emily's not here, or do we want to, that's a call for you guys to
Yeah.
make. I do have some documentation and explanation for it, but.
I think her question was that it didn't match, like the.
Right, and
the-
I've got the,
And the
So-
corrected one is in here, so.
no, that's not correct, that is the one that you saw in January. What happened though was, so you see there's on the last page of the December check register, there's a check for $0.00. Check number 164578. You'll also see on page 2, about a quarter of the way down, check number 164578 for $2,019.43. What happened is that $374 got moved from one budget line to another, and so it displayed as a 0.
Oh.
And it does add up if you, so I feel funny about, because it was Emily's question, I feel funny about, but if you guys are satisfied, I'm happy to have that conversation with her, but she was the one who wanted it to be tabled until we got a satisfactory explanation, but.
when will she be even back?
I assume next month, but
Because
again,
I couldn't remember when she was heading to Germany.
again, these are, I don't remember either.
Yeah, you just
But
don't
again,
remember
this is a
some.
sort of a the check's already cashed, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
The situation's already been.
Yeah, the check's already cashed. These aren't checks that, by the time you guys see it, they're already
I
written.
mean, I'm fine with.
I think Emily would be fine.
You've provided a sufficient explanation as to why it is.
And I'll be happy to have any further conversation with her that she wants.
Well, it sounds like it wasn't even something that was wrong, it's just, it
It
displayed.
was a weird, it displayed weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Ashley will second.
Any discussion? This is a financial based decision, so we'll go, so it's over there. Go to the bottom. Okay.
Oh, aye.
Aye. Samantha, aye.
Paula, aye.
So fine.
Chyla, aye.
All right.
For the record, there were a couple questions on the February check register too, and I brought some documents for those. I think one was the two Illinois Library Associations that both have my name on them.
Yes.
I've got the check request here. One of them is for the organization, not for me. It's sent to me, and that's what she put in the description line, but it's for the Decatur Public Library. So it's one membership for the library, one personal membership for me. The other question was about on the bottom of page 2 and the top of page 1, two things for, let's say, Beck's engraving and rubber stamps. One sublimated name badge with magnet, 6 sublimated name badges with magnet. If you notice, they're both the same check number. And again, it's a poor description. This is how we get it paid. Okay, it should have been 62 name badges, and I have the invoice here for those 62 name badges plus 2 more. Those are for everybody's. Why it displayed twice with one check, I don't know. But the 6 is simply she wrote the wrong thing.
One on one we were going, one name badge, 402. Who got that name badge?
Yeah, that's a good name badge, but here it is. It's 62 name badges.
Yeah. That was just kind of a tricky error.
The last question was about regions. So here's the solution going forward. Michelle's going to keep each month's worth of invoices and check requests in a folder, and I will simply bring it to Finance Committee meetings, so we just have it all there, and to the full board meeting. I don't quite recollect to you guys what the question on the Regions account was. The Regions is our credit card. I know it always displays funny, because what you guys see
Yeah.
is, what page is that? That's on the third page, about almost to the bottom, is the Regions credit card. It says $4,239.79 for office supplies.
Yeah, I think that was just the question,
Yeah.
that it was just generic.
Yeah, so, well, office supplies is a budget line, but Regions is one of those split invoices, so it has multiple things on it each month from different budget lines. So this last month, it was ALA membership for Ms. Henkel. It was our subscription to Claude AI. It was some water humidifier filters, end panel bin display, some program costs that we got reimbursed by the Friends for, a registration for Reading Council annual conference for a staff member, none of which are office supplies, except probably the humidifier filters. That's what it was. So what we do is, if it's different budget lines, we send this over and it gets put to both budget lines, but then it just displays, one of the budget lines gets displayed for you guys, just one. So we have not been able to figure out a way to fix that. I think those were the only questions that you guys had.
Yes.
All right, well, no other business from finance properties, we've done, obviously there was no foundation meeting. So does anyone like to add to that?
No, did you want to talk about the budget actuals?
Oh, I apologize. Yes, February 2025 budget actual session.
We're in a good place, kind of. We're in a good place spending wise. We're not in a good place revenue wise. You might look, so this is up to the end of February, and the end of February is 17% of the year's past. You might look at the personnel expenses, we're at 19% and think we're over, but we've had a 3 paycheck month. We have 2 of those a year, so we're really actually under budget here. There's none of the spending I'm concerned about except for security, and I have an email that's, again, that is, we're being charged the full cost, but I have an email from the city budget officer saying that will be fixed next month. So,
Because we should be charged tax?
50/50, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, 50/50 instead of 100%.
Do we know how that's gonna be fixed? Like, are they just not gonna charge us
They're
for 2
gonna-
months? Or
I think he's going to do a journal entry, so that will be, he'll just go back and fix the last 2 months. But we'll find out.
Okay.
So where I'm concerned, and it's not really going to show up here, but where I'm concerned is all of this line is all other revenue, okay? And it's, again, the personal property replacement tax, which is state corporate tax. I've only got 2 months of data, so I really don't even give you guys a projection usually until at least April. But I ran one for myself, and what it looks like is that the personal property replacement tax will, similar to last year, come in about $200,000 low. And although it looks like our spending is going to come in under budget as well, it ain't going to come in $200,000 under budget. I am predicting at this point a $100,000 shortfall in this year's budget. Remember, a budget is a snapshot in time. That does not mean we're broke. We have cash in the bank. We can absorb that. We could absorb a couple years like this, a few years like this. But it's not a good strategy, not a good long-term strategy. So,
Especially not if they're gonna grow.
yeah, I just want to make you aware of that. So we're at a cash position right now in our main operating fund, $856,000. Capital fund, a little over $200,000. Pantone, which is for books, $6,900. Meyer, which is for local history, $33,500. Memorials and donations, $6,100 for a total cash position of $1,102,988.72. I also forgot to put on the resolution that I put in front of you guys in the committee last month. It's not urgent, but I will be asking next month for you guys. There is a fund that has not been showing up on our reports, and I will fix that. And it is our e-commerce has all gone into, has all been through Illinois e-funds, and it ends up in a fund that is operated by the state treasurer called Illinois funds. They invest that money for us. We have, as of the last time I checked, $35,900 in it, and so the resolution is to move that cash. We can't use it in there, so to move $35,000 of that into our capital reserve fund to help pay for the furniture costs. So, sorry.
So that is the budget actuals. So they said there was no foundation meeting, so I assume there's something you'd like to add to that, right? Unless if not, we'll move down into the Friends of the Library.
Yeah, I think I ruffled some feathers in the March meeting. But I'm hoping, and I've since had a meeting with the president and one other board member. Alyssa was there at that meeting, Betty Jo from admin, and I think it was a positive meeting. And they're working on a budget for next year so that we will know what how much they're going to fund, which is one of the things I've been asking for since I got here. So, I'm happy. And that's, by the way, that was in the works before I ruffled feathers. I didn't know it was in the works, and I went in and ruffled feathers anyway. But I think we're in a good place right now. So they approved the couple of things we asked for. That day, we still need to add some clarity about exactly what they're paying for the 150th anniversary. But we'll work on getting that next week.
Fantastic. Ellen Heartland Library System.
The meeting's next week.
So we'll look for it, but I'll take it in the next one. So. All right.
Thank you for forwarding and all the information that you're getting out there too. So everybody can start signing those petitions and start making those calls.
That is correct. There's nothing under old business. We have an emergency succession plan for 2025 on the new business.
I do have two items to talk about. One of them could be old business. As another item, and it's just, but it's this library had a building committee at one time, and it was a committee that worked on. This was one of my goals to get the band back together. So we had a building committee, and we developed some plans for some future plans for the library building. They were pretty big plans, and then global pandemic hit, and everything kind of got pushed aside. And one of the things our strategic plan indicates is that we should at least look at those plans again and see, given the new landscape, are there things we still want to do? Do we want to go in a different direction? And just so you know, the new furniture, carpet, that kind of stuff, shelving, was a part of that, but it was a relatively small part. So we've taken some steps in that direction. So I would like, just if two of you, in the past it was the president and one other person, would be willing to serve on a building committee. We will also get some other stakeholders involved. We'll have staff members, and we'll have people from Friends and Foundation, and least get together and review old plans and see if these are still something that we are even interested in, or if we want to go in a completely different direction, or if we just want to keep getting new furniture. So,
We would like to volunteer.
I'll do that.
I was gonna be with my own notes, so.
Yeah, I was gonna be,
what's that?
She's answered my question.
So I will send Carl and Ashley an email once I get some other stakeholders on board, and we'll figure out a time to meet.
All right.
All right, is any of this like to bring before the body? If not,
Okay, motion to adjourn?
It's not.
No succession plan.
emergencies.
we
That
have a
was
vote
other,
on this
that
one?
was old.
Yeah, that is an action item.
Sorry, that was discussion, my apologies. So one, I guess, is there a motion to approve the emergency library succession plan as presented?
So moved.
Can I ask a question? Is this like a change to one that's already in place or a brand new plan?
It's just, we're supposed to review it, we're supposed to re-up it every year, so. to
Okay,
speak.
so this has
Yeah.
already been
It's
in
been in
place.
place for a
it's
couple of
just-
years.
Okay,
Yep.
got it.
Okay, I'll second.
The first and the second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
And the last thing is, if there's any desire of this group to have any further discussion on the IMLS stuff that I've been sending you, there was a, Doge was at IMLS today. They named the president named a new director, and the director of IMLS, and
What happened to the old one?
I assume
Yes.
dismissed.
Okay.
Because, again, the president signed a continuing resolution on Friday, passed by Congress to fund IMLS. It was not just for IMLS, it was the federal budget. But IMLS was part of that, fund the government through September. Signed into law on Friday, and then an executive order to eliminate not just IMLS, but other institutes and organizations, same day. And today, an acting director of IMLS was named. There was a somewhat Orwellian email from IMLS.
Why are they doing an acting director for the 20 years?
Exactly, the acting director said there was a great future for IMLS. We both library services to patriotism, things of that nature. So, all I ask is if you have time, shoot an email, make a phone call to your representatives. We're confused. I will meet next week. I will be at the Illinois State Library Advisory Committee. It is on the agenda. I assume it's going to take up most of the meeting because so there's roughly $50 million in grants that comes from the state library to public, school, prison, academic libraries in the state of Illinois. We got to find a place to. We got to be able to cut $5.8 million out of that 50 million. So again, look at what I sent you. If you have preferences about.
Funding for that, right?
Not directly. So about 18 million of that goes to the systems, the library systems, IHLS and Rails. So yes, in that
Benefit
sense,
from it,
we benefit from it.
but it's not part of our budget.
Correct. The initial conversation last November when we met was if this goes away, that's untouchable. That's what that was, but again, we're an advisory committee. We are not unlike you guys. You guys are a governing board. Illinois State Library Advisory Committee is just that. We give advice, but the final decision will be up to the Secretary of State's office.
And if there's any updates that, we'd be a little more precise in our talking points when we talk to people, just let us know, as the situation changes.
I will do that. And any news that I get, I will pass along to you guys. After the meeting Thursday, I should know more. Again, there's some confusion here at the state level. I'm hoping Secretary Janulis will be at the meeting, and, you know, they might know a little more than we're getting from ILA and ALA.
Even a generic phone call or email works though.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit at book club on Tuesday, and there's like an unofficial Facebook group for the book club, so we put the statement from the ALA in there with the links to, here's where you can send a petition, here's a email template that you can send to your representatives, here's who you would call if you prefer to make a phone call. So we're just trying to get people to
They
spread
actually-
the word, put out the call.
They actually do make those counts. I mean,
Yeah,
they
they do.
tally them all up. It's amazing that, you know, I think that they don't do much good.
They're
but
getting a little
they-
overwhelmed right now, and
Yeah.
I understand some voicemails have been turned off,
Yeah.
and they're getting a little overwhelmed. I don't think it's because of IMLS, I think it's just
No,
in
I think
general.
there's